You know how when you go on Leaguepedia, you see like all the player history?
Okay, like the amount of teams?
Yeah, like where they've been. I'm gonna show you parts of players' histories, and you need to tell me who the player is based on the information you have. And the less clues required, the more points.
Okay, I don't even know my own history. How can I know this one?
Bro, if you drop a kickis on me and it's the whole encyclopedia of teams, then I will know it. I swear.
Misfits Academy, Misfits Premier, Misfits Gaming.
Is it like Neon?
Maxlor?
Oh, Mouse. Pride Stalker, maybe?
Give me another clue.
Golden Guardians Academy.
He went NA and then he came back. I mean, is this Power of Evil?
Kobe?
I don't even remember the old Astralis roster. I need another clue.
Oh, this is present. Okay, that could have been easier if I knew that.
Present Astralis and as a mid laner.
This should be pretty easy, no?
Problem is, I don't even remember who plays in Astralis now. I know there's Kobe and Jangun, but I don't know. I don't know who the rest three are. So that might be an issue.
That's it's a leader.
Leader. Actually, yeah, obviously.
Okay, next.
Giants Gaming, Fuma, Fnatic Academy.
It's a top lane sub.
The guy that was subbing for Reckless, I think. His name was...
This is top lane, by the way.
Purple?
This is Bipo.
Not Bivipo.
Wait, it's Magifélix.
Wait, who was our sub actually? I don't remember. It's all, I mean, I remember the guy, but I don't remember his nickname.
I need another clue. SK.
Okay, I got baited by the role, by the way. This is Selfmade. Oh, he's top laner. Oh, okay. What? He has the same team as Selfmade. What? Okay, wait. So I'm trolling him. So he's a top laner. This is Sakura.
White Knight.
Yeah, I think I need dates.
Okay, it's not present. Well, that makes it harder, because I have no idea.
What? Sword. Who was the top laner before Genix?
This one is too hard, guys. I don't know.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the LEC. Big shout out to Shakrez and the entire content team. I love Pop Quiz, even though I actually suck at it. My name is FLICKR, and I'm joined by Gulborg and Yamato. And honestly, I figured since I'm such a fan of Pop Quiz, I didn't want to waste any time, and I want to test our analysts. I actually want to test if Yamato can ace a Pop Quiz play history, and if GB and I can even stand up to him. I think we might need to work together
on the block here. This guy has been through the history.
So listen,
been here with all these teams.
What we've done is our production team has put together a couple of players. I believe we have 4 players, right? For each player, we have up to 3 clues. If either of you can guess the player, on the first clue, 3 points, second clue, 2 points, last one, 1 point, okay? Let's see who's gonna win. If Gulborg sucks, I might join him. I already know what the first player is, so let's bring up the first set of clues and see whether or not you guys can pick this up. I did this earlier.
Is this caps?
3 points to Gulborg. Nailed it immediately. So, straight out the gate.
I just remember Dark Passage. It's the only team I knew
said the same thing. The producers explained the rules to me as soon as they said that. Like, should we change this? Is it too easy? I'm like, no.
But it didn't use the buzz. You have to...
No, it's fine. We're fine. We're going. Okay, right. Let's reveal player number 2 and see what this is. Okay, now I don't know what these are. S2V and EU. G2X. This is the first of the clues. Does anybody have an idea? No?
Wait a second.
There's a 3 points on the line.
Do we get a guess?
You can get a guess. Go for it. Once you've used a guess, you cannot go for the 3 points
I'll guess FLICKR.
Guessing FLICKR. That is incorrect. Producers are confirmed incorrect. Do you have a guess? Okay, time's moving on. Let's go. Second clue. Gulborg's lost the opportunity. March present. So we don't have the teams. Okay, if you're looking at the screen, you'll see in a moment, there's no logo next to the dates. Any guess available? 2 points? 2 points? I still haven't got a clue. Let's go for clue number 3. This is too hard.
Who's this, blood?
March 23.
Oh, Oscarini!
Oscarini.
Oh my God,
okay, Oscarini to Yamato, 1 point. Okay, so GB's on 3, Yamato's on 1. Still gonna play catch up. 2 players left to go. Let's go. Player number 3, production.
Go on, bring it.
And also in chat, try to guess along. See if you can actually figure this one out as well. Okay, so we're going middle April 2018. Who was in Ninja?
Is this Cadriel? No, it's not Cadriel, is it?
Correct. How did you? Wait. Unpack that. How?
I remember you played jungle for Ninjas in Pajamas. If you throw a Nordic team up there, I will remember.
So
And
GB
I knew for Ninjas in Pajamas, those two, if it was a mid laner, it would have been Larson. But if it was a jungler, it was Cajal.
I'm impressed. I don't know if this just means the producers know your brain better, or you're just going to 6 points to 1. There's no way that you and I
I
can
feel
win
like this is rigged.
I think so too. Okay, let's go player number 4. And so, if you know the player, give us a chance. Okay, GB?
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Player number 4, let's reveal, because you've already won the game with 6 points. Vitality Academy, then Turkey for Royal Bandits. Okay, do you know yet? Yamato? Anyone? Chat?
Is this Armut?
Chat. Armut, we have a 3-point guess from Yamato. Armut is not correct.
Can I guess 113?
113 was the guess
Oh, no,
from
that's
GB and
not
not
correct,
correct.
'cause he
Okay,
was
so
an
both 3
MVP.
points are gone. We're going to go to 2 points. Let's get the next one up. Substitute for somebody in EMEA. Is that meant to be
this
EMEA
Abadage?
Masters? Is that Abadage? Correct for Abadage on 2 points. I would not have been able to get that one. I would not have been able to get that one.
Right.
Well, GB6, 3 points for Yamato. Gentlemen, well done for that one.
Thank
We'll
you.
hopefully bring the pop quiz back a little bit later
Oh, wait,
today.
we're
Thank
done?
you. That's it. Yeah,
I
we only
won?
had 4 players. You won. Yes. Yep. Okay.
Handshake,
Let's
handshake. Well done.
handshakes indeed. Handshakes indeed. All right. Congratulations.
gentlemen. Thank
yeah,
you.
you and I
Thank
sucked.
you.
We'll catch up.
Yeah,
All right,
thank
gentlemen. Take a break. I'll be right back with you. What I want to do is move over to the telestrator and take a look at our peripheral interface for standings and scenarios. And I want to break down some of the most important stakes for today's games. We obviously have 5 matchups today, 5 more tomorrow, and the regular season will wrap up. And I want to start things off by focusing in on XL versus Astralis. If I can draw your attention to XL in the standings right here, 3 wins, 4 losses. If they lock in top 8 with a win by taking down Astralis today. The same, however, can be said if Astralis defeat XL. 100%. So whoever wins game 1 will be able to advance to the group stage. Next up, let's take a look at game number 4. Team BDS taking on Vitality. For Vitality, it is do or die. If we take a look at them in the standings, if Team BDS win the game, they are eliminated from groups and they do not have any chances for a tiebreaker scenario. Keep that in mind as we move forward, because the last matchup that I want to talk about is going to be game number 5. It's SK Gaming taking on the Mad Lions. Now, SK have a tough schedule. They play Mad today, they play Fnatic tomorrow. If SK lose both of those games, while they do not lock in, there are tiny number of scenarios in which they can advance to the group stage, but their fate will not be in their own hands. That is crucial to remember for today's 5 games. We will come back to the peripheral several times throughout the course of the day as well as tomorrow, so keep that in mind. Let's turn our attention to XL and Astralis. A win means they manage to lock in and advance to the group stage. So gentlemen, what do you think of this? What do you think of the matchups? Just before we turn into our pre-match, what do you think of the chances and let's say the 5 games at hand? What are you most excited to watch?
Honestly, this first one is pretty hype considering like XL, you know, their form is refreshing. And I feel like Astralis, I just want them to break through the patch and just get to the BO3s because I think 11-13 is going to be wonderful for them. So just the first one's on my mind.
I think the later games for sure is something to look forward to. You have Vitality, of course, playing against BDS, and then SK straight after. So the fight there really is for that last 8th spot as well. Well, if it comes down to that between the teams.
Gulborg, you've had the pleasure of hearing some of the spiciest things that I have ever said, always backstage. I'm going to say a spicy one now. Does Vitality win a single additional game today or tomorrow? Or do they finish 1-8? Before he answers that,
I'd
let's
say
turn
no.
our attention. Okay, well, it's okay. Yamato's jumping in, all right?
No.
I don't think so either. It hasn't looked good, but maybe it'll happen. Nevertheless, let's turn our attention to the actual matchup. I don't need to be spicy all day, and I promise it won't be like that. Astralis yesterday, they had a huge win against a direct competitor in SK Gaming. I think in particular, I like the way that they played. I like the draft. Yamato, I particularly like Leader popping off an Azir.
Honestly, I had a very, very good Aussie game. The meme around Lid is always he doesn't play majors, but honestly, some of the champions he plays are so much harder than majors, so I think it was just a matter of taste. And yesterday, the Nico showed up, and Astralis need wins on the board, so they played as standard of a draft as you can.
You know what I think it comes down to? Mobility. If the champion has dashes, then Leader's down on it. There's playmaking potential at this. We've seen it on the Nico, we've seen it on the Annie. It's not like he's been fully comfortable with it, but here where you can be in their phase, having a way to, well, either go even deeper in or just pull out, that's definitely one of the reasons why Leaders look so comfortable on these champions.
I mean, when you think about it, 9 games previously, yesterday was his 10th time on that champion. He pulled out a phenomenal performance on the Azir. Let's talk about the fact that if they win today, they will obviously advance to the group stage. Their opponents, the same is also true. Before we talk about how these teams win, XL yesterday didn't have the greatest draft. Peach did not lock in Maokai as we'd hoped. What did you make of the draft and the gameplay?
It was kind of strange. Their whole idea was to ban 3 junglers on blue side, and I felt like it was maybe better to target some of the champions that would break apart the compositions that they played the previous week, some of the Aussies and the Maokais. Obviously, when you come into the best of threes, being so rigid in what you play could be a bad thing. So I can understand at the same time XL trying a different look against a team that probably they won't beat. So I can understand that part, but in such a match, I hope to just go back to the OG recipe of just mage, AD carry, tank, triple meatball.
But I still think there's a way to defeat that, because so far a lot of their identity comes down to the fact that you have limit on an engaged champion, something where he's the one starting one of the plays. Obviously, as you say yourself, Mage is on the back line too. But we even saw yesterday what a simple champion like Braum can do when you suddenly pick that Nautilus, and that Nautilus has been instrumental in a lot of XL's victories too. So I think for XL, they're in this predicament right now where they have comfort that they want to play as well, and it is good in the meta, but there are tools to draft around this comfort, and that's what you need to look out for, and we saw how that got exposed yesterday.
So keeping it simple, I think if I'm understanding this recipe, yesterday you and Dracos talked about cans of soup or sailing. I didn't quite understand the metaphors. Scaling, sort of mage in the mid lane, reliable AD carry, and then meaty tank balls, okay?
I feel like the biggest issue that Europe has in terms of gameplay patterns and why Nico and Annie aren't as successful is because everything kind of comes down to these standoffs where 5 players are looking at 5 players. The full tank compositions and the mage compositions are very good in those spots, when in reality there's so much, there's so much space. Like the fights are being played 2D, but they should be 3D, when in reality there's like these angles and there's pockets that you can look to break these fortresses down. But as long as you build a good fortress, you can beat European teams.
Gulborg, I like this breakdown. I've heard a recipe for XL. Some of the ingredients, the Annie and the Nico, are things that Astralis have not been successful with. What is the recipe for Astralis to win in terms of draft and approach to the game?
Well, I think you actually need to approach that objective team fight that will come up. A lot of Astralis victories has come through either by them fully just getting ahead with the early game and then winning it, or coming back in some of these team fight scenarios. Now, XL is a team that has also found their comfort in starting early objectives, stacking up the Drake, playing the game, as we say, by the book. If you can contest them at that point by either having a counter pick ready so they don't have full power around bot side and mid side, so they just get free Drakes, but have champions that can actually contest them, especially in the 2v2 on mid lane. Make sure that leader has something that he's actually comfortable on making a mid gap. Yesterday we saw a new sign of it where he's completely gapping Certus on the Asir. Question is, what do you want to do today? Because that Asir has been a priority for Abidak as well, and it may be something we just see as a priority in general in this draft.
100%. I feel like the best version of Astralis that we especially saw the previous split was when Kobe and Yonghoon took control of the game, and Yonghoon could connect with his jungler and his mid laner because they want to play very far forward. And Astralis always had very strong lane phases, and if they can connect as the 3, things look good. But I also have to give a shout out to Finn, because I think this split, there's arguments to be made that he has had the best top lane performance out of all top laners in the regular split. So I think if they choose fights when Finn is ready to go, this is just a player that can carry.
His Renekton absolutely popped up yesterday. We have less than a minute before we have to go to our casters. A spot in the group stages on the line. I need a prediction, and briefly, who will win and why?
I'm Astralis all the way. I think currently they have a strong argument. As long as they make it through, I think against XL they should win. I think these guys can make it into the top 4 and maybe even go so far to qualify to the World Championship.
Wow, okay. I was expecting for one game. You have Yamato saying Astralis, they can make it to Worlds.
Well, I'm definitely not as hype on Astralis as Yamato is right now, but I do believe that is certainly a nice dream to have for them, and I think that's certainly what they're hoping for themselves. I think it will be tough, because I think Finn up against Oruamne is going to have a hard time. I think if Cassante is still left open, then that's going to be a bit of an edge. I can see XL have some cleaner gameplay where they cleaned up a bit after yesterday and actually have a decent chance today.
There's a bug coming. So are you predicting XL in that one? But it was a soft XL.
I'm just saying
so
XL.
He's going Astralis to Worlds. That is XL confidence. Time to find out who will lock in groups and head over to Cadril to Dracos.